Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. I am a scientist, mathematician, artist, and knowing all the 64 arts. And it is my desire to understand entire spiritual science as a divinity in the light of mathematics and geometry. Now, from that angle, this particular object of today is Trikuta Mountain, the three mountains in Katra, where I was born, and I'm going to talk about Goddess Durga or Mata Vaishno Devi. She is a descendant or incarnation of Goddess Durga. Did she represent oxygen as such? Is she the descent of oxygen on the earth to this concept? And let me make it very clear. In the center picture, you can see Trikuta on top. Then the picture of Panchaloha of Goddess Durga or Mata Vaishno Devi designed and executed by an expert from Mysore, from myself, from my home, way back in 1984. And you can see the symbol of oxygen down. Is there any correlation? Can I convert divinity into mathematical design in math, physics, chemistry is the one objective of my life. Now coming to the question very clearly, my mission is impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. Anything which is not perfect is not my mission. I try my level best to stick only to impeccable wisdom, which represent the core value perfectly of the perfect object of the universe. So I stick to that. My greatest discovery is Deviant, the divine design of nature, which was recognized, conceived, and revealed by me 2015, and this is the first of its kind in the world. No one has spoken about it before that. But I also admit with all the humility to come to the level of Devyak, it has taken me more than a integrated education for 6 years. Impeccable wisdom, which is enlightening and empowering, has given me this by eliminating all the defects in our modern educational system. And I make it very, very clear the modern mathematics which we talk about, algebra, geometry, theorem, etc., are man-made concepts, defects to the core, not as perfect as divine design. And in the light of Divyank, I'm trying to explain how perfection could be. Now come to the question of my last video, which I spoke about Mount Kailash. This is video in that unexplored, unresolved, unexplained mysteries of the Mount Kailash. The question comes, are there the mysteries in the world? And my answer is there are no mysteries in the world. To watch that, please see my video on Mount Kailash, which is long, worth resolving something which should have been resolved by earlier. Now comes a question, a genuine intuitive question comes to my mind. Is there any mystery? My comprehension is very clear. There are no mysteries in divine nature. Divine nature is perfect, is mathematically conclusive in the laws of physics, chemistry, which are the core ones. Failure to explain the truth is a mystery. The people who cannot explain concepts, have not understood in maths, physics, and chemistry, become factor to convert into mystery. Only nature is it. And I do know if nature has done it, man can know it. The one who is in tune with universal consciousness, and I call it universal consciousness as Brahman. And the Brahman who's in tune with Brahman would know all the answers by and large. And I can tell you, Divya can explain core static nature, make it very clear. It's a perfect core which is consistent throughout. And that is what I have been talking to people since my childhood. But it is difficult to explain fluctuating world which is dynamic. 38.1966, the core is perfect with Divyank, but 61.81, our external world by and large is so fluctuating, which have been created by the man who's thinking diversely, who's not thinking of perfection, is given so much of knowledge to the world that entire world is confused with that. That cannot be explained in that because you are divergent in that. That only shows you can be against nature itself. That is not what I'm talking about. Now, let me explain the unexplored Kailash mystery, which has not been put in the first one, which I'm going to talk about in the next one. This particular picture is there in Mount Kailash. The two lakes are there. One is a low-lying Rakshas lake, which has got saline water or water solution with mixed with other metals, other elements. That's left side. Right side is Mansarovar, which is pure divine water on a higher plane. This is a picture, but I don't think anybody has raised why these two lakes are there. What do they represent? Now, at this juncture, let me show it very clearly. The picture down is Sagar Manthan, a smoother Manthan, a churning of ocean. You can see left side Asuras, demons, which represent Rakshas lake, and the right side you have Devas, the gods, which represent Mansarovar lake. And in the middle you have the mountain, Meru mountain or Muntaka, whatever you call it, and that is what Kailash is all about. You can see Saraswati or you can see Vishnu, whatever it is. And this is a concept which is there present, but nobody has raised question this. Only thing they say, you should not drink Rakshas water, you should drink this water. More than that has not been spoken at all. But there is so much of mystery, wisdom in this for me to tell you before I go to Trikuta Mountain. Let me talk of Kailash as such. Now, there is a story called Neelkant, Blue Throat of Lord Shiva, as a Puranic story, and they say Sagar Manthan, while churning started, and I would say in Kailash Mountain, and black vapor started coming up. He started killing people. When they started killing people, then people looked up to Lord Shiva. Please drink this, purified with this Vishuddhi Chakra, and save us from all this. And then whole poison was taken by Lord Shiva. He started drinking. As he was drinking, Parvati put a snake around the neck. And this particular concept is well known. But is this a mystery, myth, mythology, or a pure science of the highest nature by and large? I don't think anybody has ever even looked at it. And I'm making it very clear the concept, this blue blood vapors are nothing but iodine atoms only, and which are the 53rd atom in the periodic table. That's it. But when iron is converted into ion, so it becomes 54 electrons, which represent xenon, the stable element. That's what all halogens are very close to this, or even metals very close to that, because once they lose electron, metals become like halogen, like your inert matter. And when halogen gets one more, it also becomes like inert matter. And as a result, that stability is required. And that is what it is all about. In other words, fifth, what do you say, inert matter, which is xenon, like helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon. So this represents xenon, and this is required actually to produce thyroid hormone in the throat, which can produce heat, not ATP. Even for medical science, when they say thyroid gland's function is calorigenic, BMR, or diabetogenic, is not true. Thyroid gland is thermogenic. It can produce heat, not ATP in mitochondria. And as a result, I'm showing both spiritual people also don't understand. They make into mystery. And science also don't understand nature completely. And I understand both the things. In the light of science, it's easy to. Now, having explained, once you are in tune with universal consciousness, you'll find all these natures, which I have selected one by one, are pure mathematically conclusive sciences: mathematics, physics, chemistry, and medical sciences. Now, with that, we move on to the question of Trikuta Mountain, which is my hometown, and let's see whether I see any mystery over there which also has not been seen by anybody at all. So let me explore the beauty of Trikuta Mountain. Now the science of Trikuta Mountain and goddess and more as an oxygen rather than anything else. When I think of Lord Surya, Aditya, I know it is hydrogen because hydrogen is converted into helium in the core of sun at 6000 degree temperature to convert to helium, which is Aditi and which is my Antaratma. That's one. And carbon by and large, I do know is also associated with Lord Shiva because that without carbon there is no organic life. That's it. Six. And oxygen is eighth element, which has got two electrons inside and six electrons outside. It also represents the same consciousness of power of six as oxygen SR. Now we'll try to understand that. Now let's see the science of goddess Durga. I believe it represents fire element, molecule, and that is oxygen by and large. And I'm making it very clear. She is a fire and she has got oxygen as the element as one. And then we try to understand what is the importance of oxygen as Agni Bhuta. Is this concept a mystery or a truth? Now let me explain, demystify and explain the truth. You are seeing the symbol of fire down triangle. See all the 360 60. I have put oxygen on the left side on top. That means one element without which fire cannot be there. Right at bottom, I have put a question mark with a fuel. It could be carbon, it could be wood, it could be anything. So you have brought a carbon over there. You have also brought oxygen over there. The third is ignition. And I do know ignition is again a friction. The first thing that I would again put it across as the sun itself as such. So carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, three are the most important thing which make for fire. And these are the three things which are there in Goddess Durga. Why it is there, I would explain in a story form as we proceed further. Now, I have shown in this particular periodic table, you can see there are 7 periodic tables. Again, something which is pure science by and large. There are 7 everywhere. It is not by accident, it's a divine design. Our scientists, mathematicians, and spiritual people were in tune with nature. So they made 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 colors of this, and even sun has 7 horses. Those 7 is the fundamental occult number, which I have already explained. We will explain as we move on. But as far as the groups are concerned, this is 18 groups. You have the first one, 2, then you have 10, and the third level is 18, which further goes on to further you can go up to another 32 by and large. But 32 level it doesn't go. It sticks to 18 only. So 18 is also a very important number. If 2 is helium, 10 is neon, 18 is argon. Let's leave it at that. Then krypton, another thing is again 18 added. Leave it at that. Now, hydrogen, I said, is Surya, the basic energy which also brings ignition by and large. Without ignition, fire cannot be burnt. You can have a fuel, you can have oxygen, but you need a fire at particular temperature to make it life. Inside the sun, it is 6000 degrees, but inside the formation to make energy level, it is 1600 degrees. With 1600 degrees, this will combine together to form energy, and that is made of hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. That's how I'm looking at it. And I have also spoken about this is Goddess Durga is 16, oxygen, because 6 arms by and large represent that. Now come to the question of looking at the whole thing very concept. You have 3 peaks right on top. You can see snow-laid peaks in winter in Trikuta Mountain. And they, in my opinion, represent Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh by and large. That's it. But then you have mountain on the right side towards the east. You have north, east, and south, three types mountains. And Mata Vaishno Devi, three pindis are inside. They represent Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati, which are consorts of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. That's how I see. I see a divinity there again. So everything is made of one. Converting into three is something which I find is very important in Sanatana Dharma are the knowledge by and large. Trinity, Trikuta stands out. Now come to the question of let's look at Trikuta Mountain. You get the same picture which is there from internet. You can see Trikuta Mountain very clearly, and that is also the picture I've shown in the first one. Latitude is 32.936 north, longitude is 74, and the height is 2,474 meter above the sea and the top of the Trikuta Mountain. But one point which I'm making it very clear, Trikuta Mountain has three extensions: south, east, and north. What you are seeing is the south extension, but backside also you have mountains covering, which I'm going to show you this. But west is open. Three side is enclosed, Trikuta, and fourth west it's open. And what happens to explain with respect to oxygen as energy by Goddess Durga's descent? We are going to talk about it as we proceed. Now comes the question of picture of Goddess Durga, as I understand, appreciate very well since my childhood because I'm born and brought up. I'm her devotee. I get my all answers looking up to her, and she is able to communicate with me through my inner consciousness. I'm making it very clear. She represents universal consciousness, and I do know when come to the question of knowledge, it's the Saraswati which is important. Saraswati aspect of Durga is able to give me the knowledge as such. Lakshmi is able to give me the material wealth, and Parvati is able to give me moksha, a representation of universal consciousness and impeccable wisdom. These are the three have made a difference to me. They are put, and they represent Goddess Durga. This picture is very clear, and I wanted that to be a part of my home ever since. When I built my first house in Chennai in 1984, this was the statue which I got it made by an expert in Mysore to represent the same picture in a symbolic form. Has done a wonderful job. 40 years, fantastic. She is my deity in every way. I am a staunch devotee of Mata Durga or Vaishno Devi because she is Mata Vaishnavi, incarnation of Durga only, and this also concept which I am going to explain in this particular video very clearly. Now, actually, right up to 1st January 1991, I was person who was looking up to Mata Vaishno Devi more as a person who's devoted to higher consciousness, is a part of the Veds. Durga was higher self and I was lower self. So my answer to her was that. But I did not hear any word from outside giving. But I was led from inside to have a perfect wisdom in maths, physics, chemistry, medical sciences altogether for first 4 decades without any disturbance at all. But then by that time, I was fully ready with wisdom of math, physics, chemistry, medical sciences, everything, which was making me perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. I think time had come to experience spiritual size as it exists within every human being. And that event took place on 1st January 1990 back in Chennai when I was initiated into simplified Kundalini Yoga by Maharishi Vetatri in Chennai. Let's move on. And in that particular thing, he put his hand between my eyebrows on the light you can see and made me look at that part, red part, which is Trikuta. And look at my eyes, I was looking at that part for 22 minutes. And during the process, I found Kundalini moving in my upper abdomen, turning towards left, and came and settled down over there. This was my first experience in simplified Kundalini Yoga as such. I had never experienced that as distinct as that before that. But that changed my life completely. I experienced the subjective sensation of Kundalini within my body, not outside. Now I found there is something within me which is there, and that's what I realized by my inner soul. As you can see, that experience I've shown 1991, you can see Muladhara Chakra in upper abdomen and energy going through the green to Agnya Chakra. This was the experience which was phenomenal. Subsequent to that, I wanted to know what is the truth. So 92, I learned Yogasana, Pranayam, meditation, Tratkam for 4 months. And during that, I realized the beauty of Shunya or Ara outside my light. And this is one I have already explained. That's my first experience of aura and zero in 92. I realized that zero is not what Aryabhatta has mentioned. Zero is part of everyone's soul, within as well as outside. I see the Shunya as my Atma, and also Shunya around my Atma, my body as a aura, also as a Shunya. If the center one is a small dot, and this is like you have a circle, and three dimension will be spherical. All I could see, and I'm glad I could see, because skin by and large is made from ectoderm, has a capacity to see things as they are. So from that angle, I am a scientist. I knew very well. Although people would say these kind of pictures actually making you think. But if you are a scientist, mathematician, physics, chemistry, you know the science very well. You are truthful, honest, non-violent, and perfect human being. Then science comes to you automatically as experience itself. And all the research in science should be based on your experience, not copycat research which is done throughout the world, which is defective. The next one came to question. I realized that Patanjali talks for Ashtanga Yoga. That means it's a control of the mind as such. Yam, Niyam, Yogasana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, and Samyam. These are 8 stages with Patanjali is only to make your mind control and stop the fluctuation mind so that you can be in tune with your inner consciousness. It stops there as an inner consciousness, as a pragyan. It doesn't go further to chakra yoga or further there. So ninth step of Akhand Yoga is chakra yoga. When you start experiencing awakening of Kundalini, and with that chakras nadis, which I experienced in 1993. Initiation was 91. 93 experienced that Ida, Pingla, Sushmana within me. At the initial stages, I did experience 7 levels by and large. But by the time I advanced further to 93, I found actually there are 10 chakras, not 7 chakras. Gross form in spinal cord from bottom to the brain, surrounded by what is bones, could be 7. But you go inside the brain and spinal cord with the autonomic nervous system, endocrine system, it is 10 centers, not 7 chakras. That is something I realized in 93 itself. Through my inner consciousness, through my own experience, I saw all the chakras. I could feel the vibration. I could see the music, everything. That was wonderful experience by and large in 93. And by the time it came to 95, I experienced the Kundalini moving from Muladhara through Brahma Ghanti to Brahma Nadi to the ventricles of the brain, when I found the Kundalini came right inside my body. As a result, I saw the integration of my entire body as one piece. And that was the thing. Me and my Atma became one. I realized this is what is spiritual science all about. Unless until a Kundalini comes inside, and that becomes a 10th step of Akhand Yoga. That was the real awakening. And by that time, I had already registered for PhD in research in Madras University. Work was done. Now we're going to show certain results, how things appeared as we proceeded. The first picture of the pilot study way back in 93. You see the EEG of my at top. You can see the alpha frequency is 10.5 hertz by and large. But after opening the eye, you cannot see alpha at all. You see picture is very clear, it's mine only. But second thing in 95, 2 years later, as I thought of opening the eyes, you can see in the frontal on top, you can see amplitude in the first part is better than the first one, 93, and frequency is slightly slower than upper one. But when you open, you can see alpha frequency appearing soon after opening the eyes. That was an enlightening experience of Kundalini Yoga and research, because I was subject, and 91 I had experience, 93 I got registered, 93 to 95 this was work done with the meditation on chakras, nadis, and this could bring that. And that is what pratyahara is all. Withdraw the senses. With eyes open, you should be able to see, not with eyes closed. Eyes closed, anybody can do it. But after opening, producing alpha frequency is not at all done by anyone in the world. Now I am going to show that part of it. Now you see the picture in 98. By the time 95, I experienced that, but 98, I realized that qualitatively you can see in those pictures which I showed you earlier, but quantitative analysis of power spectrum has to be done by power spectrum only, and that facility was not available in Chennai or by and large in any of the hospitals. And I'm glad my friend Dr. A.C. Gangadhar helped me to analyze one of the channels in the brain into alpha frequency using MATLAB and computer aided technology. And this is the result in 98. You can see in my case on top in Samadhi, I have a more or less coherent alpha frequency of between 9 only. From 10.5 it came to 9, and that too on Samadhi when my concentration was on the brain. Dharana, there was no concentration. Dhyana was at the bottom, at soul level. But had it was samadhi, and consistency was more with samadhi than dharana and dhyana. But lower the picture of other control subject I have studied, they could not control their coherence at all. It was erratic by and large. Whereas mind became very coherent and perfect, predominantly that. That was another enlightening experience. That's why we started company. That. Then this particular picture is with the closed eyes, an increase in power you can see. Both are more or less same kind of patterns. Mind on top and subject on other side. You cannot see a change in the pattern on the picture with eyes closed. Only difference you can see in me, the power is 2.5 times more than the power you find in other people. In other words, I could produce more power than the subject. That was the something which was enlightening. I have more power than everybody else. And this is where I make it very clear. Unless until you are a conscientious person looking for impeccable wisdom completely, your brain power does not increase. If you increase all the brain power completely, you have to be very intelligent, mathematically conclusive, and analyze things. Don't stop till you find impeccable wisdom by and large. Since I was looking for impeccable wisdom, through experience, through cognition, my power had 2.5 times more than this is. That's it. Now the next stage comes that with an open eyes, you can see the difference here. In control subject, you can see alpha has gone, beta has increased. And that is what neuroscientists of the world say. 10.5 hertz frequency from posterior brain. When mind is closed, eyes are closed. Very moment you open the eyes, it is beta frequency, not alpha frequency. You can see in the picture down. But in my case, it was a predominant alpha, particularly very high power in samadhi state. When I was able to control in the brain, my entire brain, 100 billion cells, with possibly 20,000 memory synapses, had already been activated since my childhood. That's also the message which I'm giving to the world. Here is one person who for first 7 years was not at anything. He learnt everything for understanding, mastering, observing nature with Atmic consciousness and perfection. Now I have nothing to lose in the process. But that is also reason by not studying for 7 years, letting brain fully develop, let see observe nature as such with wisdom, has given me the impeccable wisdom which today I master and challenge the whole world. We need should not teach anything for first 7 years. Brain should go, but let the children see the nature in their own self and not to disturb. Let them be very observant, and that is what my case. Now you can see the change. Now, this is a particular testimonial given by my guide after my PhD work, which says the entire research is by Shibhushan Sharma. He has known me for 40 years. He starts with a zero and taken to conclusion which nobody can do. And this is the first research done in power spectrum on this particular studies. And he has put it on record way back in 2001 itself. And I can tell you, even after 30 years, I do not see anybody else doing this kind of work anywhere in the world. Anyway, this is a testimonial. I'm glad that he has got. My results are showing if you are in universal consciousness, you are perfect human being. Only then divinity will talk to you. Otherwise, divinity cannot talk to a person who's untruthful, who's violent, who's abusive, who's going against the laws of nature. I don't do anything which perfect human being is not to do, and that is what I'm sharing about it. And this is a result which my guide, after knowing me 40 years, had put it on record. You can see it, read it with thing. Now the comes the question as now from 2001, I'm going back to 1995. Very moment I saw that I can produce alpha frequency after opening the eye, which was unusual, I found yeah, I can do it. But that started a new superconscious medium. Voice of silence started speaking to me. Rather, I'm not hearing. There's no sound. There's nothing at all. But I can understand what the Atma is trying to tell me within me. Maybe because the knowledge which is perfect, I can communicate because I see the perfection over there. I don't see imperfection. The question which comes to me, the knowledge from inside comes, which is as perfect as perfection can be. Neti, neti, niti zulat. And that is the combination me and my Antaratma became a true representation of Advait philosophy. As I will tell you, the first 40 years, it was Dvait, me separate from Mata Vaishno Devi. Now I see me and my Atma as a Advait philosophy, and I am into that. And of course, then I gone on to the give world Tret prophecy, where I make Mata Vaishno Devi as the third component of divinity, my Ishtadeva. It could also be Gayatri, it could be Adi Prashakti, it could be other souls. That's it. Now, the first question which came up, I can bring alpha frequency with open minds, and no one else is able to do in the world. Question is why I am able to do when I do not have anything special. I am just a common man with a perfect, truthful, honest, non-violent, perfect person, loves everybody, doing everything good for everybody. That's all my qualification. I do not see myself as a spiritual person, as a religious person, as a scientific person, or anything at all. How can I? When that question was raised, the intuitive answer from inside, again, I did not hear any sound, anybody talking me from outside. There was nobody talking to me, oh, you are absolutely right, this and that. No. Inside, I felt as my Atma is telling me, you come back home. Welcome, you have come back home. Now, to follow the voice of silence for instructions, and everything is revealed to you as we proceed. Now, your medium is with your Antaratma. Forget what everything else. You have come back home to Akhand Yoga. Now, this is your opening, and now you move on to get all the knowledge which you want. This Antaratma will give it to you because it's an omnipotent, omniscient Antaratma by and large. This is eternal, knows everything because everything is come out of it. It's the only one which can give you the answer. No other answer you can get from any book in the world. You got the medium, now move on. That's the reason. And Vijayadashmi of 1995, 3rd October 1995, I made a my foundation called Akhand Foundation and my charitable trust, got it registered. And 4th, I got it registered in the government and put that document in front of the Mata Vaishno Devi Durga picture, which was at my home. You have shown that. And Then I was told you make a logo for Akhand Foundation. When I started making step one, two, three, within 10 step came to this particular stage, and my soul said, "You have done it, finish. You have finished the basic structure completely." But I was surprised, how could it be? But then I told, fine. Then after that, I was told about my experiences and modify what I experienced in yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Maharishi Vetatri, as well as aura around another thing. And with that, I modified and converted the whole thing into this particular book called Akhand, an essence of universal consciousness, in which 22 by 21 to the power was very, very clear. Let me make it very clear. Right up to 2002, in this book, I have spoken about the first stage of creation is 22 by 21. And there are 10 stages of development. I was very clear in this particular book. This is record of 22 by 21 to the power of 10 is very clear in this particular book and can be taken as such. And I have the copyrights from 2002, and I'm happy. This was the first copy published on Vijayadashmi of 2002, and first copy of this book was put into Mata Vaishnavi's temple as an offering, and I'm glad with her guidance I started and done. And all the chakras you see in the same chakras right in this particular picture, which was done in 2002. Now the question is, by the time I came to 2005, the end of the first chapter came into my life. 2000, my first son Avinash left for America for MS, and second son Dhruv left for America in 2004 for MS and PhD in North Carolina, and first one at Energy IT. And by the time both of them left, I felt you have finished your duties on clinical site or hospital of 30 years. You have also finished your duty in pharmaceutical industry for 25 years. Now you can leave both of them and concentrate only on spiritual science. When I took this particular decision, all my relatives, my friends, wife, everyone turned against me. How could you, a progressive, intelligent doctor, helping millions and millions of patients over a period, helping through pharmaceutical medicine, the highest quality in the world, so how can you close these two and then move? And my answer was very clear. These two can be done by anybody, but what I am going to do, what I am made to understand, cannot be done by anybody else. But when they came to that stage, I was literally cornered by everybody, including my relatives, my wife's relatives, my friends, associates, all stood behind my back, used her as a pawn to stop me from going further. I said, no, this is not my decision. This is the decision of my Antaratma. And my Antaratma, see, for which you have been chosen for, you will not be able to do if you do not move on to the research to the higher level as move on. And that was the defining moment. I said, no, I have come to this stage. Now I have to do it. So you take everything. So as I think everything is settled in my wife's name at 2005 and left to Bangalore. And from that, I left to Shri Mata Vaishno Devi because she had called me back to that place for the next stage to explain her life completely, which she has not done with anybody else. Now you can understand. She is my Ish Devi. She knows I am the only one who can understand her. Nobody else will be able to understand. So she called me back. She made the whole situation in such a way that everybody turned against me and put me into a stage. I gave everything with an empty mind without any and commitment of any nature to anyone, including my wife, children, relatives, friends, and other things. I moved on to Katra Vaishno Devi by and large. And that is the beginning of new chapter in the lap of Trikuta Mountain, which I think is very defining moment. Because I came back for something which I had not done there in my first chapter, which I have not done till I came there for years together. So things were to change. So I had to come back to Trikuta Mountain and be in Himalaya ki god mein, Trikutas ki god mein, and let move on thereafter. This is the juncture. This is Katra Vaishno Devi University. And Professor Bansal, the Vice Chancellor, offered me ad hoc visiting associate professor for 6 months only. But as a result, I joined in the university in November 2005. That is, as you can see my picture sitting there right in front. On the middle front portion is me. With my friends, we are all talking in one of the functions in Sri Mata Vaishno University. Now, first few months, I felt out of place or felt like a fish in a new technical university. I'm a medical doctor and spiritual scientist, neuroscientist, mathematician doing in a technical university. I had absolutely no connection. But Mata had brought me back there because she had the purpose with me. Then things automatically happen when you're in tune with universal consciousness. See, immediately the first souvenir designed for youth festival of Shri Mata Vaishno University came up. That was somewhere in January 2006. But that's a time when everybody knew that I have a charitable trust of my own. I have my own book, and have done a wonderful work on spiritual science by and large. I was asked, can you sponsor a souvenir? And as it's always clear, we are looking for sponsorships for different people. When I was asked that, I said I'll be very happy to sponsor, but on one condition, that whole thing will be designed by me as it is. Nobody is going to ask me any question. If you give me the permission, I would do it. And I was given the permission. Then I see what exactly is designed for festival is. They had converted students into five things: Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. And all those five elements of five things I represent in the picture so many you can see. And when I explained that to Vice Chancellor others, everybody was surprised. How could you convert that as a spiritual science, the highest thing, into this symbol and create it for that? Was very turning point for me. But I do agree with all that. Things happened because things had to happen. It was not my design. Let me make it very clear. Shibhushan Sharma Bayana is a very simple person. But my Atma knows everything. That Atma saw to it that the designer and other thing with whom I was sitting and working, they could understand my Atma because I could speak to them in building because I'm an artist, I'm a mathematician, I'm an intuitive person. This result was phenomenal. This opened a new chapter altogether for me. That's it. Then went through the process of rectifying everything in the world, the whole university, everything. I was promoted as a spiritual scientist, first one, then a dean of student, member, then editor of the first single one-man editor and chairman. A lot of wonderful things happened in Sri Mata Vaishno University, which are unheard. Within span of 2.5 years, I became literally two, which I don't think any individual anywhere in the world would have in any university, that you start from zero as ad hoc and within 2 years, 2.5 years, you become as powerful as the vice chancellor in taking all the decision. But I'm not going to details of that. But let me tell you, the symbol design on the left side you can see is the symbol of Sri Mata Vaishno University, which was designed by NID, National Institute of Designing, Ahmedabad. They charge 2 lakhs of rupees to do this particular thing. But when I saw that, it did not make me as much sense as it is required. It did not represent Mata Vaishno Devi. It did not represent the whole consciousness. Then I converted the whole thing into symbol for an annual report of 2006 and 2007, for which I had become the one-man editor and chairman. And you can see the symbol, which is used as a symbol even today. No. Then I have started something very innovative over there. Things with, let me again. It is my Antaratma, not me. And that is it. And now change the logo, you can see. And university archives start with this particular publisher annual report 2006 and 2007 only. Everything is followed from here on the footprints which I did as an individual person single-handedly over there. Now this particular symbol which I use the last is the derivation of the same thing with which I had improvised the symbol there. Maybe Mata said You come there, you'll be able to understand me much better. It's going to be a part of your universal consciousness as you proceed further. That's what I say. Mata Vaishnavi is my Isht Devi, and she is Goddess Durga, and she is the one which is actually giving me the third element. My Antaratma is giving Advait. Shivbhushan Sharma is giving Advait. But Antaratma Tret Paravidya is Mata Vaishnavi, which is giving me much more knowledge, but which my Antaratma itself can give it. So this third element came to play a role in Sri Mata Vaishnavi as the third element, and as a result, I was invited by Jammu University to give a lecture on Treta philosophy. And I'm going to now hereafter going to explain small concepts in much more detail as videos, one concept, so the lay behind encyclopedia for the world. And Jammu University gave me a chance, and of course, All India Radio also gave me a chance to speak about it on many of the concepts of spiritual science, which are still recorded and recorded very well. That was a turning point. Then come to the question is Shri Mata Vaishnadevi Shrine Board, which controlled the entire process of Shri Mata Vaishnadevi University. They had invited me to do some personal a discussion with them. That is the time I met IAS officer Divedi, and he was impressed with my work, and he said, "You can do very well." Then I asked him, "If you can give me a permission, can I go to Sri Mata Vaishnavi cave and see what is there under the three mountains?" And I have heard certain things from my ancestors, and that's what I want to see. I want to see. And Mr. Divedi was very kind to give me permission and stop the yatra for half an hour, 45 minutes, and let me see that place as such. The mountain, inside the cave, and below the cave water, and inside what it is. And I'm glad to put it across that reminded me Adi God Dattatreya with three heads. Those three pindis represent Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, as you can see on both the sides are three. Underneath the water is coming, and there is a statue of 5.5 feet over there. And that resembles this. This was very turning point. I don't think anybody has ever seen. Based on this information is something I wrote two books over there in 2008, the living Divine Mother and Mata Vaishno Devi represented this concept very clearly and showed how the Tatriya's picture and Mata Vaishno Devi picture is identical. If the male concept is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, female is Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, that was very conclusive, and you can see the picture very clearly. And you can see that picture, this was redesigned by me in 1997. And 95 I had done on Gayatri. Now the question, let's now start to the question of Mahisasura, whose Asura was there, for whom goddess Durga was created to kill. Now let's understand the story of Mahisasura's creation itself. He is a demon, he is Asura, the Rakshas, and that is what Rakshas is, which I talked about it in Kailash Parvat. And son of Ramba. One of the two brothers, Ramba and Karamba, are the one. Karamba did meditation in water, but Ramba did in Panch Agnis, fire element, and got a blessing that he will get a son who is going to kill Indra, who got his brother killed. Then he was told that he can have a son through any animal which comes the first, and he saw buffalo. And with buffalo, he got the son called Mahisasura. Mahisa means buffalo's head, and that is Mahisasura. He was born with blessing Agnibhuta because Ramba had exercised meditation only on Agni. So it is this. As a result, Mahisasura was given the freedom to conquer all the three worlds. One, as the first thing, he can conquer earth element, conquer antariksh, and conquer heaven too. All the three worlds, each of seven part, 21 part, he could have a control over, and that was Mahisasura. And he can do it effortlessly without any problem. Then, second is that no male god can kill him. That was second thing which I got from realized Agni gave that no male, but he was not kind enough to understand that female can kill him. He did not use for female, he used only for male. So that was a turning point for the next creation of Mata Durga itself. Now creation of Durga comes up. She was created with the energy of all the gods and goddesses put together to eliminate Mahisasura as such. As I told you, Mahisasura is son of Ramba, the demon who meditates on Panchbhutis and cannot conquer, he cannot be killed, and that is again something. But I'm making a statement. Since Mahisasura is made out of Agni element, that means there is a carbon, there is hydrogen, there is oxygen. That's the basic elements. So it has to be created by somebody who is master of hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen again. So she had to be one with oxygen by and large. So that is my understanding that she was designed and created with Agnibhuta oxygen only. But of course, there is a carbon, there is a hydrogen. And that's what I've shown it. With that, we go to the image of Goddess Durga. Now let's understand what is the picture of Goddess Durga, which I have used it as my statue in my house itself. Now you see this picture, there are 8 arms, 8 hands, and that's it. What they stand, I'm going to explain to you now one by one. Now let's say, first thing, one hand is the blessing thing. That means I learned something from Goddess Durga. Son, learn to be give, and forgive only. Do not work for get, and forget. That's the negative attitude. Positive attitude is bless, give, and forgive. Your duty is to be like Surya, give, and give. Work honestly and learn to give it. It could be money, form in anything, just learn to give it. That's it. Then you have a hand of one with a lotus petal. That means you should be as pure as lotus, which can develop, can grow in a dirty water, but untouched by the dirt. You can be in the world with all the dirt around, but the world's dirt cannot touch you. It should be your quality. This is something which I learned from that particular statue as well as picture. Hand with the shank spears, you should be in a position to produce the sound of Om within your body itself. Your body should be like shank, and shank's representation is Divyank only. Then you should have Sudarshan chakras. All the chakras should run clockwise and anticlockwise in such a way, eliminate all the defects whatsoever. You should have the capacity to analyze things perfectly. And do not stop till you reach impeccable wisdom, was the fourth lesson which I learned from this picture. Then the fifth lesson I learned is a Trishul, a trident. You have this trident to remove all the evil by itself. Once for all, uproot that. You should be a totally non-violent person against evil, remove all and become a perfect human being. That is what Trishul taught me as a fifth element. Then the sixth was bow and arrow. This is what reminds me of Arjuna. As a child, even as an adult, he could pierce the one object which I want. And that object should be your Atma or any object in the world. Once you reach that level of pinpointed concentration, only then you are a yogi. Then you are karma yogi, jnana yogi, and completely. Then you should have one hand as sword, which should be able to eliminate everything to pieces. Remove everything which is there dirty. Don't have it. That is the goddess picture. This. Then eighth element is a mace gada. That means it represents brahmacharya. All your sexual energy is to be converted into Vahani Nadi and create a shield around your brain so powerful that brahmacharya, that means contingency of converting testosterone and estrogen using for intellectual purpose, and also give you the power. The waste of sexual energy is bad, but optimum use it. But this also I learnt. There are two extremes. One who misuse it, which is defective, and one who don't use it also is defective. The one who get married, and keep in mind That is limit to the extent you should have ojas into tejas. Not beyond that, it could become a too much a problem. Too much of energy into the brain can also disorganize. Too little energy also will not make you intelligent. You should have more than optimum energy 24/7, which is going to give you perfect RBC, muscles, power, intelligence, everything. It revolves around testosterone to estrogen, etc. That was eighth message. I said that was a wonderful experience. This all the eight became my examples to become what I am today. That's what I learned from Goddess Durga picture itself. That eight has lot of importance. But of course, when it comes to goddess Gayatri with 10 arms, is all little more, but nothing much. More or less the same thing is repeated there. Now, this picture is there of Agni, but in this you can see 14 arms, 7 on each side. That means she represents both Bhumi and Antriksh completely. So her focus is only up to Antriksh only. It is only not 21 arms. That's one thing which I'm making it very clear. 7 to 14, that means Bhumi 7 part, Antriksh 7 part. Her restriction is that. That is where I say she's represent oxygen. Oxygen is present only up to atmosphere of Earth. But let me also tell you, if you look at 4 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, had 97% carbon dioxide to start with. Now, because of photosynthesis, Earth element, it is oxygen, which is 21% instead of carbon dioxide, and 78% nitrogen has converted. So her limit is only between Antriksh and Bhumi alone. She is maximum go up to oxygen only. That is what I meant by 14, not 21 or 22. Now this is a picture where with the 14 hands around, she is killing Mahisasura. Now you can see Mahisasura, the head down of buffalo's body, and beauty and house kill. That is also the where Raktabij, Chanda, Munda, and others are also. I'm not getting to that. I'm not going to details of this particular thing. But this is what happened on Vijayadashmi day, 10th day. She killed Mahisasura and killed him in Antriksh itself. All the war was lot in Antriksh, not in heaven. That is something which I'm making it clear. What in Antriksh? Atmosphere, oxygen, kill. Now the question of descent. After killing Mahisasura, war is over. Victory of the gods and goddesses from atrocious demon was done. That is the time when Goddess Durga decided that this mortal bowl of oxygen, Agni, with Agni which he had killed, has to descend to the earth and make the earth fully oxygenated. And that is the reason she came down as an oxygen onto earth, and the place she chose was Trikuta Mountain to fall on. So this is what I am trying to say very clear. Now, this particular story form or the concept, does it make a sense or doesn't make a sense? Let's now look at it little more elaborately. Now, I said 21 front and back bones are there. Right at the picture down is the front Trikuta Mountain, which on the right side is a continuation, and you can see the back. You can see the Trikuta temple right in the upper one, but there is a front, there is a back, and this, and the whole there is a stream which starts from that particular process only, not before that. That is something which I'm going to show you how beautiful that oxygen and the whole thing came. It did not start like a volcano where high helium is formed. Here it just felt to clear the doubt with oxygen alone, not helium. That is something, not neon either. Let me make it very clear. It's neither helium, not neon, not krypton, not argon, not xenon, but it is only oxygen, eighth element. That's it. Now, this is a picture of Google which I've seen of Jammu and Kashmir by and large. You can see the picture very clearly. You can see Kashmir Valley, you can see Sindhu River, you can see stream, you can see the part valley. Now I'm going to show a part to show what happened when she landed in Trikuta Mountain. Now you can see the Trikuta Mountain I have put. The smaller portion is this Swastik Lake. Kashmir Valley is on upper. Riasi is on left side, is a small town. Katra is where I was born. Trikuta Mountain is there and Jammu is there. But you can see one pinkish color line moving from that going towards east, south and southeast. And that is the stream which is left behind after fall of Durga over there of the oxygen element. Now I'm going to show you little more detail where you will be able to appreciate it even better. Now look at this picture. There is a Trikuta mountain, there is a Riasi, there is Katra, there is Jammu. And right at the mountain that between that something starts and now you can see the green lake with all the water flowing through. And that is a stream which was formed in the process of falling of oxygen Durga over there created everything molten fire element. That means it created up to 1600 degrees centigrade to Akash Bhuta only. It is not a volcanic. It's not 6000 thing to produce thing. It is just to produce, convert everything the hydrogen oxygen into a liquid thing and blow more like a stream of water with 1600 degrees only, not 6000 degrees to produce helium. That's one thing very clear. It is not a fall of volcanic statue. It is just as such only produce stones and things like that. But this particular place has got a very unique perception. That means, let me show you in the next picture. Now I'm going to show you what is the divine nature of this. It starts in front of the cave temple in the right side and flows down to the west and then south and finally to the east. And this temperature is lower during summer and higher during winter is something which I experienced for the first time when I was in Shri Mata West University, which is located along this particular stream. And stream is surrounded by mountains. On top is 21 mountains, and of course the Shivalik mountains on one side, as well as Pir Panchal, and also a continuation of Himalayas. That's it. And reason even Katra temperature is lesser during summer and better in winter because three mountains, all the extreme goes over it, does not touch inside. That's a beauty. That is something which I found got unique thing in Katra temperature. Maybe that was one of the reasons why I took birth in Katra. Now the question of now let me talk of the legend of Vaishnavi, which everybody knows. It is written that she took, after descending onto this, she took birth as Vaishnavi in Kanyakumari. And then she is supposed to have gone to Rameshwar to meet Rama because she wanted to get married to Rama. And Rama said, I cannot get married because I'm already married to Sita. I cannot have two wives. That's it. Then she was asked to go to Trikuta Mountain, do meditation, and enlighten every in the process, and wait for Kalki Avatar. This is the legend of Vaishnavi, which is well known to everybody in Katra also. And now she is shielding, protecting, and guiding everybody, including me. And my enlightenment is her divine blessings because she is doing that. But what exactly she is doing there is something which I would like to share now. Now I have one question which always comes to my mind. I am used to Durga mantra ever since my childhood. Sarv Mangal Mangle Shive Sarvat Sadhike Sharnai Triyambake Gauri Narayani Namastute. This is my mantra. It's a japa mantra. This is going on in mind 24/7. Is a japa mantra for me. But whenever there is a distress, there is problem, or I am disturbed, I start chanting Gayatri mantra immediately. I have given the first here the mantra which is the Rig Veda. But I chant Om Bhur Vava Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Tiyo Yonha Prachodhyat. And then why do I chant this mantra is a question I can ask only my mother, that is Mata Vaishno Devi. And the answer she gave. She said, I am blessed with 8 arms. I represent Agni Bhuta. And what I want to become like Goddess Gayatri with 10 arms. So I want to evolve from oxygen to Neon 21 and become like a universal consciousness. Since my meditation is to become neon, to be with the universal consciousness and to reach that level, my meditation is with Gayatri Mantra only. That's why it's the greatest mantra in Rigved, Yajurved, and right. And maybe that's the reason she made me give Akhand Gayatri Mantra to the world with the 22 Oms and 10 Vyatis. It's a beautiful mantra found in my book, Akash Sutra, in my book, which is available on my website. People can download and read that. And since I'm doing that, so when you have a problem, I lift you up and put it in my lap, and along with me, you also start chanting Gayatri Mantra. And by the time you chant 3 times, you are totally free. But at the same time, when I do that, I also improve because my concentration becomes higher. And whatever you're given, Akash, what do you say Gayatri Mantra to the world, is actually my mantra. But I made you give to the world because I chant that. From Rigved Tat Savitur Varene Vargo Devasya Dhimhi to Akhand Gayatri is my mantra. And you are given the word is my representation, and that's it. Now, is there any proof to prove? He said, yes, why not? He said, you have twice a year puja in Mata Vaishno Devi temple, and it is Yagya, Havan, fire element. And the first day is a Shailputri, which represents Muladhara Chakra. Second is Brahmachari, which represents Swadhisthana Chakra, a sexual chakra. Third thing is Chandrakanta, which is with Nabhi Chakra or adrenal glands. Fourth is Kushmanda, which is associated with Usha Chakra or aura of sun. Now the fifth is with Anahata Chakra, with the heart and mind, you can see same thing at the back of our head. You can see the same light which I put in my book. Then sixth is Katyani, which is with Vishuddhi Chakra, again to purify things as it is. Now, seventh is Kalratri, which is with asteroid belt as well as Ajna Chakra. At eighth day, I reached the level of hypothalamus or Vigyan Chakra in scientific pure consciousness, my and large. On the ninth day, I reached the level of Siddharthi, that is one which gives you occult powers, Siddhi. I get ultra at ninth level, and that is pineal gland, and that is what is Pragyan Chakra by and large. Then finally on Vijayadashmi day I get it. I reach Sahasrara Chakra, and that is level which you can see in this particular picture with 10 arms. So does that make sense or not make sense is something which has to be understood the 10 levels. Now to make the point very very clear, let me show you. During Kshetri Durga Puja as well as Vijayadashmi Puja, you have Havan in Mata Vaishno Devi, as you can see the picture from Mata Vaishno Devi only for 10 days Havans. And that is what represents, she is working on that. Is it a coincidence or divine wisdom? I leave it to the people. I do believe I'm in tune with her. She's showing me something to share with the world. That is she represent. She is doing tapasya to reach Gayatri level, and she is the one who has given me Akhand Gayatri, which I put in this as such because I'm her lab itself. Now, in this picture, Agni is God. You can see the picture, and you can see in that without oxygen there cannot be, without carbon there cannot be, without hydrogen there cannot be. And these are the things which are very clear in this particular picture. And I see carbon, methane or wood is one part, oxygen is second part, ignition is heat temperature of 1600 degrees inside. So even when yagya is done, two woods are restricted to produce the heat. When that becomes spark, only then fire can burn. It's something which I'm trying to take it very clearly. And that's it. Now, this is picture is same thing which I've shown. I'm not going to go. I think this is enough for the day. Thank you very much. It was nice discussing everything in detail. Thank you.